Hey everyone, and we are on our seventh lesson, and I'm glad that I'm doing this as a challenge on my part because I'm not a tax law expert. And although, based on my personal experience in law school, tax law was one of my most difficult subjects. I would consider it as a very difficult subject, given that I'm a pol sci graduate and we did not study taxation law, unlike the accounting majors in commerce and even other commerce courses. And the thing is, I want to challenge you that, and my personal experience also, that even if I did not do good in law school on my taxation and commercial law, I have to include that. But you can still challenge yourself and even overcome the difficulty. And in fact, in my bar results, actually taxation is one of my highest grades aside from political law and remedial law. So in our lesson for today, actually it's divided into two parts. The first would be on just the general definition and coverage of taxes. And the second would be the governing laws or the application here in the Philippines. So basically, based on Black's dictionary, a tax is defined as a monetary charge. Actually, it is imposed by the government on persons and persons, transactions, or property. So you have to you have to understand definition of tax so that you can also separate it as to the legal implications of other impositions given by the government. And basically, the purpose of imposing taxes would be to yield public revenue. And in a while, we will be tackling the basis of taxes, why individuals or citizens and even foreigners or residents in the Philippines are liable to pay taxes. And it also covers even privileges and occupations like lawyers. We are to pay professional tax, and we cannot even renew our notarial commission, and also our as part of being a member of the bar in good standing, we have to pay our yearly professional tax. And I want to share that it's the amount for that per year would be 300 pesos. So I think it varies in other cities also, but in my city, in Lapu-Lapu, it's 300 pesos. Now, what is the basis of taxation? I have to quote Adam Smith on this. And actually, my inclination is really in the pol sci perspective because I'm a pol sci graduate. And to me, the study of law is basically the understanding of how governments operate and how governments are run. And one of that would be taxes. And he said in his Wealth of Nations, in as early as 1776, it's flashed on the screen, saying that it is really for the government to operate. And since the government when the government operates, it means an expenditure. So the basis would be, like, one could ask, where would the money come from? So as part of the responsibilities of a citizen and enjoying the benefits of the services provided by the government, then the population should also contribute to the costs of operating the government. Now, in the same Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith said that good taxes have the following criteria, and this criteria also is the basis of the theories of taxation. And in fact, I wanna show it now that these are the theories on taxation, and I have to go back to the criteria given by Adam Smith. If you juxtapose them, you will see that taxes must be based on the person's ability to pay, and it should not be arbitrary, and it should be convenient in collecting it. And it's cheap to administer the collection, so that it will not be an added burden on the government, aside from the burden of operating the government services, providing the people. Then if collection of taxes would be very difficult, then that's another burden of the government. So instead of solving the problem, then it's adding up. So what are the theories again? These are the major theories of taxation, and these are very basic ones. Since we are getting benefit out of the government operations and services provided, then we should be paying the government for such benefit. Although it is distributed among the population, still we are getting the benefits. Example would be security and order, as there are police officers securing the safety of the public. So if we will hire our own guard, then that would cost us much. So the government will just have it distributed again to the population, so that it will be lighter or it's lesser. So the cost of service. So the state, based on this theory, we go now to the second theory. Based on this theory, we have to our the state only charges as to the actual cost, so it cannot even go up. So an example would be your roads like NLEX or SLEX, and the soon third bridge of Cebu, connecting Cebu and Cordova and Lapu-Lapu. So the it should be for a definite period of time, because the government cannot just collect in perpetuity for the access, or like the toll fee, they call that toll fee, so that the people or the general public could enter and utilize the bridge. So it cannot be for a long period of time. And also the ability to pay. Of course, those who cannot pay should not be even be imposed taxes. So example would be, why would you be imposing a non-lawyer or a non-professional, a professional tax, or a person who has lesser value of a property, of course, would be paying proportionate to the value of the property. An example would be your real property tax. So you check on that. As the property's value would increase, then your tax would increase. So let's go now to the types of taxes. As to administration or collection, we have two types, the national and the local. You have to observe, like if you go to the BIR, those taxes that you pay there are automatically your national taxes, and it goes to the national treasury. While the local government, when you pay your taxes to the local government, it means you go to the treasurer's office. An example would be, every year I go, especially during the first week of January, I go to the treasurer's office of Lapu-Lapu City to pay for my professional tax, and also for real property tax. I pay through, it's assessed by the assessor's office, then payment is done through the before the treasurer's office. As to channel of payment, it means like how is payment done, like whether it's direct or indirect, and I'm showing some examples here. And if it's direct, it's directly paid to the government. And if you look at it, income taxes and capital gains tax, which are also administered by BIR, except for real property taxes, these are direct taxes. But value added tax would be those, like if you look at your receipt when you pay, when you buy something, there's a VAT there, and it's like 12% as to, like, added to the value of what you purchase. So you have to, it's also proportionate to like the ability to pay of the person. And like the more you pay or the more you buy something, then the more there is a value added tax. So you have to look into how much are you paying. And actually only in the Philippines that we're not so particular with the tax, because unlike the mindset of the Americans especially, and also the Europeans, in which they will look at how much is the tax imposed, because they're also particular, especially for if you travel there, as to tax refunds. So it's only that time, based on my experience, that value added tax would be very material on me. Okay. Another type would be as to who is responsible for the payment. Actually, I made this an example, or I purposely included this because an individual like me, an individual person, I am liable to pay professional tax. However, a juridical person like a corporation or a partnership does not pay professional tax. Although income taxes, value added tax is similar to, or they are also liable, like individual or even juridical persons are liable to this. And quickly, although I included in the previous slides, I included some types of taxes, but just to simplify your minds, these are the examples of taxes that you will meet, and especially you will study while you are in law school. So, capital gains tax, I will allot a specific lesson explaining each of these examples of taxes. And another set of examples would be your transfer tax, professional tax, and estate tax, which is very important. And the next part of the lesson would be the laws governing taxation in the Philippines. But before we continue, let's have a 1 minute break.